everyone. So honestly, much like last week, there's not a whole lot to talk about plot-wise as it's continuing to set the stage for what's to come, but I will say I'm beginning to see a lot of the pieces coming together in terms of All for One's plan, and so far, just within the confines of this chapter alone, I'm definitely getting the major vibes of that the heroes are gonna have to lose majorly before they can win, and if that is the route we're going with this, I'm a little more mixed on this than you'd think, because I feel we kind of already went through this whole sort of crushing defeat scenario in the war arc, and this was our heroic comeback, but at the same time, not only does this feel pretty consistent with the escalation of events thus far, but I am starting to think that the only real way to defeat All for One at this juncture is for him to win, i.e. steal One for All, and very controversial take coming, but even though we have had a few stumbles in getting to this point, and depending on how Horikoshi ultimately executes upon this build-up, I feel MHA in this chapter in particular has done more than anything, more than any other chapter at this point, has really kind of fixed the Madara problem, which is to say, in Naruto, even though Madara was arguably the main villain of the series, plotting everything behind the scenes, the moment Kaguya came to the picture, it felt like he was instantly tossed aside. Anything he had done or planned was completely anything that he himself had done or planned, anything he was responsible for was ultimately defunct, and that it was ultimately, hey, it's Kaguya. And I know that wasn't entirely Kishimoto's fault, as he's just growing tired by then. But ultimately, like, where I'm going with this is, compared to what happened with Madara, All for One, for whatever bumps there were in the journey getting here, from the beginning of the story to now, I felt this consistent presence throughout. Even when he's not the direct focus, I still get the feeling like everything is still happening because of him. Everything is he's taking advantage of everything that's happening in the world as it exists. He always, All for One, always feels like he's at the center of everything, and that's. And that is what makes him scary, what makes him a very terrifying presence. So it's like, yeah, I know I went off on a small tangent there, but I feel I needed to mention this because I am starting to see how a lot of the pieces are kind of coming together in this chapter, and I feel like, yeah, in order for All for One to truly be defeated, he does need to win. He does need to steal, like, One for All. Izuku does need to like truly suffer a crushing defeat of, like, losing his power. That does feel like the only way that they can truly, like, win, as weird as it is to say. There's always been this contingent, there's always been this constant of, like, All for One and One for All are one and the same. So I feel that, but through Izuku and so many other holders having developed the power, I feel that in some ways that over the years of its power developing, it might actually, the fact that it has developed so much might be the key to it being possibly his downfall in some way. Now, of course, even bigger than all that, though, is that definitely in contrast to the first time he went up against Dabi after learning he was Toya, I like how we do get to see Endeavor has resolved himself in order to stop his son now. Like, Endeavor is fully accepting that Dabi is a creation of his own making, and now he's taking full responsibility for all that he's done, all he's become by stopping him here. Like, that's pretty much, like, at this point, that's pretty much all he can hope to do. That's all Endeavor can hope to do anymore. And I like the line about this time around, I'm really seeing you. Like, through what Endeavor is thinking, you can see Endeavor is seeing Dabi or Toya for what he has become, and just what kind of role that he himself played in it all. Like, this is Endeavor, like, truly starting to. This is kind of in some ways Endeavor's true starting line, as he finally understands he's never been a hero, just a man plagued by envy, jealousy, but now this is the first time he's truly felt what it means to be a hero, facing down the very curse he's inflicted upon his family and the world, and just wanting to put all of it to rest for the sake of everyone, like even beyond the sake of all. And now, whether or not that leads to actually saving Dabi, saving Toya, or ultimately killing him, I don't know. Again, I'm kind of the belief right now that Toya needs to die, because it seems like needs to die, but at the same time, I am slightly back on the train of like that I wouldn't be against it if Endeavor succeeded in saving him as well. But even beyond Endeavor, though, I like how there is kind of this subtle realization among Ochako, Sue, and Kyoka that they're realizing not only the magnitude of the situation they're facing, but I think to some degree, specifically Ochako and Sue, they are realizing just how much this is basically everything working to its natural conclusion. The response, like the villain's actions are basically a response to society functioning the way it has for so long, and to the point where talking, unfortunately, is going to have to come later. Like, don't get me wrong, Ochako and Sue, they genuinely want to understand Toga. They want to kind of save her, so to speak, but unfortunately, the saving part, I don't think it can happen until they finally stop her. And yeah, not a whole lot more to say about this chapter, I guess. The one final thing I will say is that All for One's intended goal right now of reaching Shigaraki, that there is definitely like an imperative idea of like keeping them as separate as possible, because from what we've learned, the closer they are, the stronger the link between them comes, meaning All for One's hold grows stronger as well. Over Shigaraki's body becomes stronger as well. Now, as we see, Hawks does do a good job at stopping him in his tracks, which, again, I'm all for, but I'm not going to lie, that matchup in itself is a little concerning, which is to say, I do think Hawks needs to die, but honestly, if he dies at the hands of All for One, it is going to feel a touch underwhelming. It'll still be impactful, especially if Tokoyami sees him being killed, but again, I feel Toga, through the Twice clones, still needs to be the one to ultimately kill him, as there's this, again, resonance to having the face of someone he killed be the one to kill him just as well. It's just a formula that works, but I just don't know how likely that's going to happen now, but I'm willing to wait and see how it plays out. And again, I just hope Horikoshi knows what is gonna resonate more if he is indeed going down this route, which I guess that's the other thing about it too. I can't mark down if he's actually going to kill Hawks, but again, I'm hoping he does, because at this point there's only a very small window where I see him surviving being a good thing. Like, I just feel it needs to happen. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to hit the notification bell, subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Night signing off. Later, everyone.